Hey guys, so I'm ready to talk about just my experience with the Craniamon deck, and honestly, it felt pretty good. Functioned pretty much how I thought it would, and I, as you might have seen, I got a couple of wins. Uh, the main issue was we didn't really have very many matches this week, but that's not really the deck's fault. Uh, and one of my big surprises with the deck was honestly while making it, there really seems to be kind of an actually intended deck for Craniamon. There's the Kotemon, the couple of Gladiemons that I did use, and there's some Nightmons, all of which seem to have this, they feed into getting together blocker and reboot and having boosts to DP that honestly, when you have one or two Craniamons out and the DP is being boosted at like one or 2,000, then he kind of just becomes almost unstoppable in that regard. Um, Realistically, the only thing that I would want to change, there was a couple of rookies that I saw as I was going through stuff that I was unaware of before actually putting the deck together, and I just wanted to keep the actual like plan that I had for the most part, and make that deck. This one, well, there's things like the Solar Mon, which has blocker and reboot, so I'd obviously advertise putting that in over, say, the Toyagumon. There were a lot of some of the new Greymon support from EX10 is obviously really good and could be very useful to the deck. I think just recently there was announced a third Craniamon that has a reboot and blocker natively. So just having additional DP boosts or ways to trash your opponent's security in the stack would probably work out best for that. I also thought of putting stuff like Megadramon in so that you could, when attacking, delete your opponent's tamers or Digimon, depending on what's causing you issues. Um, just things like that. I feel like there's a lot of little tweaks that could be done with the deck to make it much more competitive. I don't think that this is ever going to be a meta deck. I believe that this is probably going to stay somewhere around like your tier 2 decks or tier 1.5, that area. You can get some wins and maybe win some tournaments depending on your matchups, but the overall cost of actually going into your higher level Digimon is just going to be the biggest roadblock. If there was if there were more ways to lower the cost or increase your memory before going up the ladder, I would say that this could have a tier 1 spot, mainly because the uh, immunity to Digimon effects for a turn is incredible. Stops you from being deleted, de-digivolve, DP reduced, just anything that doesn't linger onto your turn is not going to affect this Craniamon. If you manage to keep turn and swing in with it, then you're obviously going to be doing a lot more work. The end of turn forcing your opponent to attack you, that's a good way to get your aces going. If you have a second stack, that's also a great way to actually get the the when deleting a Digimon trash a security. You might have seen me do that several times where my opponent just wasn't going to attack or he digivolved and was passing turn, and so I just said, okay, this thing swings in, and then I block it with Craniamon, and it's deleted. The BT3 Craniamon has a lot of good potential. Of course, he has blocker natively, and he's a lower Digivolution cost, but he has the lower DP, which can also be a problem. But his all turns, stopping blockers from being deleted by effects. That's for all effects, or that's your all of your opponent's effects. So Digimon and option cards are not going to be able to stop any of your blockers. Um, which is once again why I brought up the Nightmon, because the Nightmon that I was looking at had blocker and would force your opponent to attack, and then the inheritable was if you're any Digimon with Nightmon and text would get plus 1,000. So obviously that would bump him up, and forcing your opponent to attack, and then digivolving to this so that you can block it. It's just a good way to keep a semi control of what your opponent has out. And some of you might remember there was a deck couple of, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, that was just big black blockers. Craniamon was the ace card for that, and once he hit the field, there wasn't really much that an opponent could do, as you just kind of built up this wall of blockers that just kind of waited around for either you to deck out or would just start poking every now and then. Now, the Kotemon was on play trash a card with Nightmon and text to draw two. So that's useful, but at the same time, that's going to, since this is black, you're not going to be able to recover that stuff, and you're just kind of whittling down your resources that you might need to level up to, get higher up. And of course, the only things that's going to have Nightmon in text are going to be your actual Nightmon or your Kotemon who says Nightmon on it. The Gladimons that I used and the ones that I saw did not have Nightmon anywhere on them. There and in black especially, I wouldn't want to just get rid of resources like that. Uh, if you want to build this deck, I think it's very fun, very turtly, kind of patience oriented. You're forcing your opponent to attack into you and then punishing them for that, and then you're going to come back with on your turn, swinging in, then rebooting, force them to attack again. Block, just keeping their numbers down while you continue your offense. Um, I do think definitely the trainings were very useful. The scramble was a good call, and if you want to be more in theme or in archetype for Craniamon, I would definitely suggest seeing about putting in a couple of memory boosts. The tie that I used was good for the card draw, and uh, there is a Koromon that just came out, the EX10 one, that says when attack target is changed, you draw a card. So if you have blocker, that's obviously going to help you out to draw on your opponent's turn. It's also going to make it so that if they try to block you, then you can draw a card. If they raid into your stuff, you can draw a card. So at the very least, you can get some resources back. Uh, so that's really the end of it for me. Um, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about the deck. Let me know what you think would be a fun build for next time. And I'll see you all next. I'm on Jank Bank. Bye.